Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. I hope you've all had a wonderful week so far. Today, we're going to be diving into our daily cryptocurrency market update, and this is going to be a different one from what we usually do, where we go over a number of news segments. We're going to be talking about the crypto space as a whole, and we are going to be playing a number of clips that have come out recently from Charlie Munger, who essentially, Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett go hand in hand. They are extremely successful investors who have been very negative upon crypto and claim to understand crypto, but also really miss, Satoshi's vision. And we're going to play a clip on Charlie talking about crypto, some of his comments, and then also talking about inflation and the state of the fiat systems and how he thinks potentially fiat systems could be going to zero over the next 100 years. So has he really understood what Bitcoin is trying to do here? We're going to get into it all in this video. I would argue that he's just on the other team and trying to protect that. He would rather a strong US dollar, which would allow him to continue in the ways that he's been so successful in. So he is a very successful investor. Anybody doubting that really is ignorant, in my opinion. But I think he's got this call wrong on Bitcoin. So we're going to get into all that. It's a really strange time for the markets as a whole, because Bitcoin kind of hasn't followed this 4-year cycle theory. And we're now at this kind of indecision point. Lots of analysts are disagreeing with one another. Lots of people can't make heads or tails of this. One thing that I'm going to say is that when you look at this chart, and this is Bitcoin's sort of history since 2010, what you're looking at here is adoption. Now, prior, Bitcoin has really been moved by the halvenings, which are these green lines. You can see afterwards, the price has to adjust in order to keep miners profitable and so on and so forth. And this is really how Bitcoin has moved in these kind of 4-year cycle theories that have been very fundamentally driven. We're now a different, more mature space. We've got the previous cycles overlaid here in bar patterns. Lots of people still calling for the lengthening cycle theory. It's still an absolute possibility. But I think we ultimately, there's different actors within our space now than there were 2017 and prior. And that's going to ultimately shape and dictate this chart and take away largely from fundamentals, because that's kind of how markets make sense, but they also don't in many ways. And often price doesn't really represent the underlying asset that it's trying to. But one thing that I really want to stress, with all this indecision, I'm still unbelievably bullish on crypto. Every single day now, I'm going to read you a few tweets from Blockworks. Intel CEO, blockchain is a powerful technology that can transform currencies, transaction, and supply chains. This is the Belgium NP. Not taking the time to learn about Bitcoin is Europe's biggest mistake. Deutsche Bank, Bitcoin could become the 21st century's gold. And this is the Walmart board director. Crypto potential is huge and its use cases go beyond the financial sphere. Every single day now, despite this uncertainty within markets, remember Bitcoin's at a very crucial point, holding above that sort of 42k range, we get nothing but good news. We get the furthering of adoption, and the price just does not correlate that. And it feels kind of like being back in 2018, 2019, and sort of certainly the start of 2020, where you had all this, throughout this entire time period, the news was tremendous, but the price just didn't move on the back end of it. Feels like we're in a similar kind of place now, ladies and gentlemen, where there's a lot of hesitancy towards markets, and you can see this really in the charts. And I think ultimately this train is going to get moving again. There's just going to be a period now with a lot of what the Fed are doing and sort of that downwind that we're facing of uncertainty and people being rather hesitant. But I think once the direction is established, and I think it's going to be to the upside, we're going to get rocking and rolling again. But we're going to have, I've got some really important guests. I've got a number of interviews that I've still to do, but I've got some guests that have been in markets for longer than I've been alive, and they're going to sort of weigh in. And I really like some of their theories on how this could play out for crypto. But let's get into Charlie's statements, because he also claims to understand crypto. I watched both his interviews. I actually don't mind Charlie or Warren. I think they're extremely successful in what they've done. Warren Buffett is Becoming Warren Buffett was a documentary made about him. It's well worth a watch. He's been very, very good at calling markets, and as a financial investor or a market investor, market participant, he's been very successful. But I think they've missed Bitcoin, and I think that they see it from a threatening point, then any other kind of standpoint. Let's get into some of Charlie's comments. We'll start with his views on crypto generally, and then we'll look at his views on the monetary system and the direction that that's taken. And this is a huge contradiction in my opinion, because Satoshi's vision really had everything to do with fiat systems failing and not being a sort of fair system of value, a solid and sound money, to coin the term. So let's play it.
Crypto was another question that I got a lot of. I'll ask this one from Carl Moscatello, who says, crypto is a $2 trillion asset class. Are you willing to admit you missed something?
Well, I certainly didn't invest in crypto. I'm proud of the fact I've avoided it. It's like, some venereal disease or something. I just regard it as beneath contempt. Some people think it's modernity, and they welcome a currency that's so useful in extortions and kidnappings and so on, tax evasion. And of course, the envy, everybody has to create his own new currency. And I think that's crazy too. So I'm not having any, I wish it had been banned immediately. And I admire the Chinese for banning it. I think they were right, and we've been wrong to allow it.
Perhaps this is the appropriate follow-up then. This comes from Micah Misek, who asks, Mr. Munger, you've been warning of the evils of cryptocurrency in the past. How do you feel about the Federal Reserve preparing to launch a central bank digital?
We don't need to play that bit. He goes on to talk about the CBDC, central bank digital currency, that will come from the Fed eventually. They've already released a paper on it and sort of speculated that it's coming. But he really, firstly, the narrative that Bitcoin and crypto is only used for illicit activity is a narrative that hasn't really been applicable since Silk Road. It's just simply not. Undoubtedly, you're going to have bad actors and people who have malicious intent in any sectors. And in actual fact, the US dollar is the most used illicit currency, or most used currency in illicit activity, whatever that may be. So this narrative, if you look at the amount of people that own Bitcoin and hold it, it's a unbelievably small percent that actually, sorry about that. It's an unbelievably small percent that actually use it for anything malicious. And to coin everything as nefarious based off a very small amount of individuals, for me, is just totally ignorant. And I think, as much as respect, and I have unbelievable respect, I've read a number of books from Charlie and certainly Warren. I have unbelievable respect for these two investors, but they've really missed the boat here. They've really missed something. And it's funny that he's missed kind of what's taking place here, given his next comments on inflation. So let's play that, and then we'll wrap the video up, guys. This video has been a little bit later than I'd have anticipated it to be. Lots going on. All in Crypto is really maturing as a business now. And we're going to be bringing a number of things to you over the coming days, weeks, and months. So let's play the second one, and then we'll wrap this video up.
Inflation is a very serious subject. You can argue it's the way democracies die. So it's a huge danger once you've got a populace that learns it can vote itself money. If you look at the Roman Republic, they inflated the currency steadily for hundreds of years, and eventually the whole damn Roman Empire collapsed. So it's the biggest long-range danger we have, probably, apart from nuclear war. The safe assumption for an investor is that over the next 100 years, the currency is going to zero. That's my working hypothesis.
Well, you heard it from the horse's mouth there, guys. The financial currency system that we have is going to zero in the next 100 years. Bitcoin has shown to be a hedge against that over time, and in my opinion is going to continue to do so. And this obviously fits. There's lots taking place. I'm doing a lot of looking into it. I'm going to bring a video for the people who are interested in more sort of macroeconomics on yield curves and the sort of debt market, which is getting hammered right now. And we know that the Fed are going to have to up interest rates. They're going to have to, if nothing else, other than to restore faith in them and markets generally from your sort of big investors. because what's took place, it's fine when it just affects the poorest people in society, but when it starts to affect the richer half of society, then it becomes an issue. So they don't care necessarily about inflation pushing families into debt and poverty, which is something I'm very passionate about. It's why maybe it does help, maybe it doesn't, but it's why I talk about crypto. It's why I talk about finance, because I think if people understood the game that they were playing, they'd be able to play it a lot better. And as somebody who grew up on the wrong side of the financial system, I know just how finance affects everybody's life, and it's a shame that it's that way, but I digress. So there's lots going on, and like I say, now, there's lots of sort of mistrust being placed in the Fed. They're not really, they've got to do something to kind of get everybody back on the same boat. But I'm going to love and leave you on that note. This was a little bit of a later video than we usually bring one out. I hope you found that interesting and enjoyable. Let me know what you think about Charlie's comments in the description or in the comment section. But that's really all I have for you. These are just a few, Charlie Munger. I'm proud of not investing in crypto. Berkshire Hathaway over 5 years is up 87%. Ethereum's up 20,300%, 23,000%, and Bitcoin's up 4,000%. Goes to show, really, I think they've largely missed the boat here. And I think really why they're still coming out and saying that they don't like Bitcoin and crypto is because it is in opposition to everything that they've done, really. They don't invest speculative necessarily. They take calculated decisions, which is really what investment should be. And crypto really throws a lot of that out the window. But anyway, I'm going to love and leave you on that note, guys. If you've enjoyed the content, a like is always appreciated. So is a comment, and I'll catch you all in the next YouTube video. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gents.